As if planted between mountains and valleys, Oleiros is a place of unique panoramic beauty, generously served by rivers, streams and lakes that provide a mix of sounds and a fluid palette of colour that are simply the delight of the senses. With 10 parishes in the municipality, Oleiros is superb for leisure, rest and communion with nature. A corner of the world truly blessed by nature. In the watercourses that permeate this land, abundant life forms actively sustain a complex and fascinating ecosystem. In Oleiros, it's not uncommon to find scenes like this, fit for fairy tales. A richness and a peace that can only be described by an earnest soul in search of freedom. In geological terms, schist predominates in this region, offering landscapes of great uniformity that bear witness to the passage of millions of years. The robust quartzite mountains stand out in the landscape, with a hardness that refuses to surrender to the elements. But where exactly is this Oleiros? It belongs to the district of Castelo Branco. Oleiros covers 10 parishes, each adorned in unique colours and lullabied with its own sound, defying us to stop and surrender, just to take in the full depth of its beauty. One of these scenarios is Fraga di Agua d'Alta, in the heart of the Beira Baixa, at Orvalho, one of the 10 parishes in Oleiros. Part of the Natur Tejo Geopark. Here we find a waterfall with a drop of some 25 meters. Fraga di Agua d'Alta is unquestionably a magical place. In this corner of the country alone, there are 200 examples of the otherwise rare Portuguese cherry laurel. In autumn, the cherry laurel and the laurestine reach their splendor, displaying branches laden with lush green foliage. And the light, although now more timid, lends a warm tone to this colorful corner of paradise. This valley harbors patches of ancient laurel forest, fruit of its very special microclimate. If we follow the watercourse, we come to Lagoa das Lontras. And who knows, perhaps even an encounter with a local otter community. Here in the valley, our ear surrenders to a polyphonic texture of sounds coming from small waterfalls, from the wind rustling in the tree canopy, and the birds and insects exchanging earnest calls. However, only the mountains have the overwhelming power to force us to stand in awe before the majesty of their imposing silhouettes. The Serra do Muradal guards a secret of more than 200 million years. A link to a supercontinent. The origins of an Atlantis from before the existence of humankind. It was the time of Pangaea. The Atlantic Ocean divided, giving rise to gigantic rafts of stone and to modern-day continents. Here, on these very mountains, we find the exact same rock strata as that found in the American Appalachians. Following an integral part of the longest trail in the world, hikers can discover the unique history of the landscape of Europe and North America. The International Appalachian Trail begins here on Muradal Mountain and connects 2 continents once separated by the Atlantic Ocean. A unique panorama of the mountains that compose the municipality can be found at the Cabeço do Mosqueiro viewpoint. The structure, which resembles a castle with its battlements, was reclassified to receive tourists. The beauty of the landscape and the dimension that it reaches are nothing short of breathtaking. Closer at hand, the most attentive among us will find on the shaped stone fossils of considerable scientific, educational and geotouristic value. These trace fossils are known as Daedalus, a maze of burrows left by certain worms living on the seabed some 500 million years ago. The river Zezere delimits the municipality of Oleiros in the north with all the majesty of the second longest exclusively Portuguese river. Our journey takes us to Álvaro, and on the way we stop off in the parish of Estreito. Entirely built of quartzite brought down from the Serra Muradal, the parish church, or Church of St. John the Baptist, reveals the work of master sculptor Soares Branco. The bas relief shows everyday pastoral scenes with artisans and acts of faith. Here, as elsewhere, the landscape appears as if painted in oils, with the sublime advantage of being in constant transformation. And what do we see here? The meanders of the river Zezere. It is simply impossible to remain indifferent before this magnificent scene. The river escapes us along its meandering route, playful and sensual, with its inviting and graceful curves. The meanders of the river Zezere, a UNESCO geosite in the Nature Tejo Geopark, one of the most beautiful and capricious river valleys in Portugal. The village of Álvaro extends languidly, meandering along the hillside overlooking the river Zezere. When seen from above, it somewhat resembles a wall guarding the passage of the river. This is one of the restricted group of much-loved Portuguese schist stone villages. The houses can't hide the fact that this was once a very noble villa and county seat. But Álvaro also offers us exceptional historical and cultural heritage, an example of which is the parish church. The Church of Mercy. Or the Roman bridge over which the Camino de Santiago pilgrimage route passes. Santiago happens to be the patron saint of this village too. From the viewpoint adjacent to the church, we can see the majestic river Zezere and the bridge that crosses it. The village offers facilities to take full advantage of the river beach, very popular with the tourists, particularly in summertime. The river, deep and broad, with magnificent banks, plays a central role in the leisure activities of many of the locals. The surrounding area is of significant ecological interest. The Álvaro Woods have always had exceptional value, not least as a showcase of all that nature offers with each passing season. But on the road to Isna, a spot chosen for the royal hunt in times gone by, monocultures of wild pine are evident. The charms of Oleiros have often contributed to shaping the ideals of its sons and daughters, not least of which is Father Antonio de Andrade. This explorer was the first European to visit Tibet, a feat he accomplished in 1624. Oleiros' pride in its most illustrious Jesuit priest is evident in the statue at the center of the village, standing right in front of the recently added municipal garden. The garden has added to the attractiveness of the area around the village hall. Once in the village of Oleiros, a visit to the parish church is a must. Classified as a site of public interest, it was built in the 16th century. Since then, it has been renovated on a number of occasions. Its nondescript Manueline facade belies the magnificence of its Baroque interior. All these perambulations have sharpened our appetite, and we can't help but yearn to discover what the region has to offer the palate. There are in fact a number of local dishes to choose from, including roast kid, the historical cabrito istonado, a speciality of Oleiros. Preparing this unique delicacy is nothing if not ritualistic. Reverence in bringing the oven to temperature, patience in waiting and knowing the moment it is done. Skills and knowledge passed down from generation to generation make this a complex dish, rich in flavors and marked by tradition. Another delicacy is maranhão. Oleiros is proud to be able to offer the most traditional and genuine maranhão in Portugal, and a meal of this caliber begs for the company of a good wine. Now, there is a single grape variety in the region which thrives along the banks of the river and which produces a wine that is unique to Oleiros, a wine known as Colum. White, smooth and light, an authentic anthropological treasure passed down unchanged through the centuries. But the ritual is only completed with a fine dessert. And why not a tigelada? And as custom would have it, a wee drop of Madroño brandy. There are so many strawberry trees in the region that a small cup of Madroño liqueur is considered an obligatory gesture to mark any self-respecting meal. Among the many places of beauty and traditions of Portugal, a visit to Oleiros is an intense experience, marked by unparalleled natural and gastronomic wealth. The municipality of Oleiros is waiting for you with a host of arguments to satisfy the most demanding public. With its river beaches and accommodation for all tastes throughout the territory. Imagine a place where humankind's existence is in perfect communion with the sublime touch of nature. A place framed by water, flowing through valleys and mountains. A place that takes us to the essence of sounds and smells and dazzles our senses. Yes, that dazzles our senses. Here, there are unique places that seem to conspire in our favor. If you've ever dreamed of finding a place like this, now you know where it is.